Yes.
Hey, what's up, Blazer fans? Welcome to We Have a Take the What podcast. I am Tara Bowen Biggs, and I am so excited to be joined once again by Rose Harding. Hi, Rose. It's been way too long.
Hi, Tara. It's nice to see you again. Although I did technically see you yesterday.
Well, yes, because it was your special day. It was your birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. Everybody in your car, sing happy birthday to Rose or wherever you are.
Or don't, because it's a horrible song and nobody can sing it in tune, and that's okay. But thank you.
I hope you had a great one.
I did, and I will say that because today is the What Awards episode, I want to share, like, Tara brought me my own What Award, and it says that I'm the best podcast host. I know you all didn't vote on that. That was just one that was unilaterally given by Tara, but I love it so much, and I'm gonna go stick it next to our Arspita Sabonis, right over
Yay.
here.
Well, it has been wonderful being a co-host with you all these years. I've had a number of amazing co-hosts, and this year you get it.
Well, thank you. Um, I just so we've been it's been a while since we've recorded. The last time we recorded, I like told everybody about my health. And so I just want to share with you all that, it's June 22nd. It's been a couple months since we've recorded. I had surgery. I'm doing really well. I was very lucky in that I don't have any cancer that they can find in my body anymore. And so now I'm just in, for all intents and purposes, complete remission and focusing on preventing recurrence now.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy you got the time that you needed and that you had the support that you needed and that we've come out here to a place now where I don't know, it's probably not never going to be on your mind again.
Yeah.
But at least, you have maybe a little bit more capacity for thinking about things besides just like your health. And I'm so glad to hear that you're doing well. And yeah, it was super fun to see you yesterday in person. And I was shocked to see that you were blonde because I'm behind on your different your hair journey. This is the first time I think I've seen you just straight up blonde and not some like beautiful, vibrant color.
It's true. And I had always planned, I think, to go blonde this summer, but like my hairdresser and I were like, well, we could probably do it right now. And at the time that I did blonde, I like didn't know if I was going to need chemotherapy.
Hmm.
So I was like, I'd been working toward going blonde for the summer, and I was like, well, I might not if I need chemotherapy, I will need to start chemotherapy before the next hair appointment. So let's just go blonde now so that I know that I did it. Because if I need chemotherapy, I might lose all my hair. Um, but I get to keep it. So I'm going to stay blonde probably for the summer and however long I feel like until I want to do a different color.
Well, so what else have you been up to and what's your summer? What lays ahead for you this summer?
Well, I have been watching a little bit of the finals. I've been watching some basketball. I don't have a lot planned because I like wasn't sure if I was going to be in treatment all summer. So we like didn't plan vacations or anything like that. But there's two things I'm looking forward to. One, I'm looking forward to my mom coming for a week because my daughter is driving me a little bit crazy and she just needs a ton of attention. And like my mother loves this stuff. She can play imaginary games. She can like, you know, she can like get down and like do whatever an 8-year-old wants to do. And I can do that too, but like not forever. I like need a break from it. And so she has like some summer camps here and there, but then there are going to be weeks where she's just home. And my mom is so good at keeping her engaged. So I'm looking forward to my mom coming. Also, I just like my mom.
Yeah.
My mom is like, sometimes you have a mom, like you have a family member that's like a hard house guest, like a even someone you're related to, they can be a hard house guest. They need a lot from you, like, and it's not like it's a bad thing, but they just require a lot of your effort. My mom is so the opposite of that. She just chills when there's something to do. She wants to do it. If she wants to go on a walk, she'll just go on a walk, sit and read her book, randomly do dishes. Like she's like the chillest, easiest house guest.
That sounds like great plan coming up.
Yeah. What about you?
Let's see. I have to admit, I have not been very engaged with basketball at all since the Blazers were out. It's been
That's okay.
a struggle to keep my interest. I did watch like back when there was like a game every single day during the playoffs or two games every single, like I enjoy like the very beginning of it, but then when they start putting days in between games, I start finding things that distract me and forgetting to go back and watch the games. And now I'm barely watching right now, which is such a bummer because it's so exciting to have two teams in the NBA finals who are not from one of the coasts. I mean, that's incredible. And like, who would have thought did anybody really think the Indiana Pacers were going to be in the NBA finals and forcing
No.
OKC into a game seven?
No.
I mean, I
And
sat
it's
there and watched the Blazers beat them.
yeah, we with the last time we saw Tyrese Halliburton had a big goose egg. He scored 0 points against us, and I was like, oh, he can like disappear. And I mean, honestly, he's wonderful, but it's been like a team that like everyone contributes on.
I
And I
tell
think that's
myself that that night they all went and looked at each other in the locker room, and that just inspired them, and that's why they've made this finals run is thanks to the Blazers. So if they win, basically we won.
yeah, okay. Yeah, and Rick Carlisle, I think coached here. Terry Stotts is from the Carlisle coaching tree. Their
Mhm.
team is constructed by our old GM.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you know how, we've been talking and trying to figure out like Portland's coaching situation. Is he like a good coach? Is he a bad coach? Where is he somewhere in the middle? Is he the right coach? Is he the right now coach? It's just been really hard to figure out where Chauncey Billups is. When you look at Indiana, you go, oh, Rick Carlisle's the coach. Like, I
Mm,
mean, like I think he's a huge part of the reason that they are so successful. I think they have a lot of guys with a lot of unique skill sets and unique talents. But to be able to put all that together, and probably also because they're reading all Caitlin Cooper's articles, going, "Oh, maybe we should try that."
yes. Caitlin Cooper's like a folk hero among like Indiana Pacers fans.
And it's
And I love
starting to be
that.
NBA. I mean,
Yeah, good
uh,
for her.
her writing is incredible. It's like it's gone so far beyond my ability to like comprehend. But I'm just like, yes, go Caitlin. This is amazing. And just like anything that brings her more exposure and more people who will subscribe to her work. And, it's just, I'm so happy for her. I don't know. I guess I haven't even really thought who I'm rooting for in this game seven, but listening to myself talk, I think I might be leaning towards the Pacers. Do you have a rooting interest?
I have rooting interests that are not about people winning.
Okay,
So
say
like
more.
so my rooting interests for the Pacers are that like there's a lot of like cool parallels between them and us, and also like I am a fan of TJ McConnell. I've been a fan of TJ McConnell before everybody decided that TJ McConnell was the end all be all in the playoffs, by the way.
Okay,
Because
where
I
did that
love
come
this
from?
so I love this story about him that I read like years and years ago, and people have heard me talk about it multiple times, so I'm sorry if you're hearing it again. About him having to pay cover charge to get into a bar with his family after a Sixers game when he was on the tanking 76ers. And it was like there was like they went to a bar he went to a bar with his family and they were asking people to pay cover charge except if you went to the Sixers game and you had a ticket stub, then you didn't need to pay cover charge. And his family was trying to explain to like the bouncer that like he was at the game, but he doesn't have a ticket stub because he was in the game. And they did not care. He paid cover to get into this bar that his family got into for free because they had ticket stubs. And even though he played in the game, that didn't count enough because the Sixers were so bad that maybe they didn't even know who was on the team. Because it was like, remember when there was like that, like, I don't know, 4 years where they were winning like 13
Yeah,
games a year?
probably many Blazers, current and past, played on that team.
Yes. I think Jeremy Grant was on that tanking team too.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I love that story because, like, one, they didn't like leave. He stayed humble. He still went in it with his family. He paid cover. And also, he's just like a regular guy. Like,
Hmm.
he's like a 6'1" regular guy who just stayed very prepared and was good at his role. And is like making a difference for a team in the playoffs and beyond that, like, you know, is really memorable. And I love a guy like that.
I just remember when they had three TJs on the team, like 3 or 4 years ago. I was like, because we had two CJs, and I was like, whoa, but they have three TJs.
They went to the store and bought all the TJs so nobody else could have them.
Yeah, bottom all up.
So I'm interested in that, and also for like Homer reasons. I like Isaiah Hartenstein because his dad was a Duck,
Hmm.
and he grew up in Eugene. And then I actually loved the story in the off season when he signed with the Thunder. There was a story about him signing with the Thunder about how like Thunder management like flew into Eugene to see him over the summer, and I was like, oh, he still lives there. Cute. So anyway, that's my other rooting interest is that I like Isaiah Hartenstein because he's a son of a Duck.
Yeah, yeah, works for me.
And he was born there. I think he was born in Eugene.
Yes, because I think he was born while his dad was on the team.
Yeah. And so he must have still like grown up there because his dad, I think, stayed associated with the athletic department for a while. So he must still like, he obviously still has a home there or
Hmm.
some aspect of his home is there because that's where they went and signed him to the Thunder in the off season.
I just, in general, am so excited that two teams that play so different than like we've all been like had pounded into our heads the last 5 years about this is how it's done. And like they're like, no, the way it's done is you get the most talented people you can and then figure out how it works.
Yeah. And like these are teams where like, maybe you can identify the guy, but like who's second and who's third and like those are not very clearly defined roles in my opinion on these teams. Like who's the number two? I don't know. It's whoever's playing well on a
Hmm.
given night because all of these guys are capable of contributing.
Do you have any gut who's gonna win? Feeling about who's gonna win?
I feel like it's OKC's to lose. So here's the thing. I think that the Pacers have been playing better basketball in general, but I think that being at home in a game seven is like it should be yours to lose.
Hmm.
And like the Thunder have played pretty well at home. And so I don't know. And oh, I have a fun little tidbit about that is that Blazers shot clock operator is going to be there for game seven. She's going to be operating the shot clock for the game seven.
Very cool.
So yeah, Amanda, who is awesome about running our shot clock here at home, we're rooting for you. So that's maybe my real rooting interest is I'm rooting for Amanda.
Yeah. Good to have
Um,
good representation there.
do you have rooting interests or I guess you said it's kind of the Pacers?
Yeah, I think I kind of lean towards the Pacers, but I kind of think OKC is gonna win. But just gut instinct and barely.
Being at home for a game seven, like, can you imagine losing a game seven at home? I think that's maybe what it comes down to for me. I'm like, I don't know if these guys could live with themselves if they lost a game seven at home.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a close game, I think if it's suddenly they everything just goes wrong and it's just like a comedy of errors and they embarrass themselves, then yeah. But if it's a close game, I mean, they should be really proud about this year. And they also are like just getting started.
I know. Like, we could be like looking at the next dynasty team in the West, and we're like, ugh. I
Yeah.
don't want to like think about having Alex Caruso on that team and in it like he's like a sixth man on that team, like for the next 4 years. Ugh.
Speaking of dynasties and Alex Caruso, did you have any idea that the Lakers were going to be sold? That showed.
No,
I was like, what? I don't want to go into it because it's like, but I was just like the Bus family, like I think are they still going to have some. This is why I don't want to talk about it because I only read like two articles and I did not maintain them because I was probably multitasking at the time. But like the Bus family not being the controlling owners of the Lakers is just like mind-blowing to me.
right? And isn't it the guy who controls the Dodgers?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so everything that happens with the Lakers, can I just say, like, smart people are going to explain why these things happened, but the things is that I have a hard time getting away from is everything that happens with them that is a major transaction is weird. And I can't get over how weird it is every time. And they're like, oh, now you have Luka Doncic. Oh, now you've sold the Lakers. Like, it doesn't feel legit, even if you can explain to me in a million different detailed ways why it feels legit. As an overarching body of work, it feels not legit.
You know what it's like? It's like somebody's writing a movie about a basketball team. And that's the kind of stuff that happens to the Lakers. Like
Yeah.
not real life stuff, but like stuff that people who are trying to tell a story about it. That's what happens to the Lakers.
All the plot points for the one team.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I was just like I was shocked. Does that mean like Jeannie Buss and Phil can get back together now?
Is he alive still?
Phil Jackson? I believe so.
I don't know.
I
He's quite old, right?
don't think he's that old.
I don't know. I don't know how old she is. I don't know how old
Yeah.
he is. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I
Well,
just know that that was a long time
I hope
ago.
she enjoys her retirement because some of these people who like have all this money and are like up to their elbows in all these big giant money making things, like they sometimes just don't retire. They just keep going and it's like, enjoy yourself, Jeannie.
Yeah, that's right. Go on Love Island or whatever.
Oh, look at you. Just dropping the Love Island reference.
I know. Well, it's spoiler alert. I watched the first episode yesterday and I made my husband watch it with me because it was my birthday. And on your birthday, you can ask your spouse to do anything with you. So that's what we did for an hour and 43 minutes. God knows why a premiere needs to be an hour and 43 minutes. It's longer than Black Bag, which we watched the night before. It's shocking.
Okay, I have questions. What was it that made you decide to watch Love Island, having like not really been a big reality TV watcher?
Two things. One, everyone I know is talking about it. Not just like you and Kat and Cassidy. Like everybody I know is talking about it. Three, every time I open Peacock, Peacock is shoving it down my throat. They're like, have you watched Love Island? Have you seen this cheesy commercial about the fortune teller guy and Love Island? Like, I'm like, no, I don't. And so I was like, fine. I'll watch the first episode. And then I was horrified for that. I was like, I'll watch the first episode. And I figured it would be like 45 minutes. And I was like, an hour and 43. I need, like, my kid needs to go to bed and I need a whole evening to dedicate to this. Um, so anyway, but
Well,
I was committed to doing it, to knowing who these people are.
so I'm trying to like put forth a very like calm demeanor and not like show how excited I am inside because I don't want to get my hopes up. Much like being a Blazer fan, that this is going to turn into anything. You know what? It's just one episode of TV. I will say that I think it's an hour and 43 because it has to be a big occasion. People have been waiting because the last time it was on last summer, and it turned out to be like this runaway hit. And so people have really had a lot of expectations, and there's been a lot of excitement about it coming out. So I don't think 45 minutes would have been satisfactory enough. People would also because it's like it drops one at a time. Um, and even though I don't know, did you know that it's every night except Hump Day? Love
What?
Island is
No,
on
wait,
every
they
day
watch it
except
every
Hump Day. It's not on Wednesdays. It's on every night.
6 days a week?
Yes. So you're committed.
Oh my God, that's so much television.
Okay, but it's not an hour and 43 minutes every time. But anyway, so there's a lot of built up anticipation for the first episode. And plus, they have to introduce the characters and they need some time.
Thank you for calling them characters because that's exactly how they feel like to me. They all feel like they fill certain roles.
Well, that's what they are. Like that's how you have to watch reality TV. Not like that they're not real people because they are real people, but they are there for a reason, and that reason is to be on reality TV. Like
Right.
they're
They're
not
cast for a
there.
purpose.
Right. They didn't pluck somebody off the street and be like, "Oh, you look like you could, really use love." They like
Yeah.
chose the people who put themselves out there and said, "I want to do this." So they're characters and they're playing a game. And we should still absolutely treat them like people and be, keep that in mind, just like with sports. But I enjoy watching it like as if it was a game and they are vying for something. And
I mean, they're vying for $100,000.
yes, that's exactly it. And um the pretense under which they're vying for $100,000 is love. But that's the love is just really like to keep the plot moving forward. So yeah, I think one of the two reasons that it was so long is because people were waiting for a really long time. It was super highly anticipated, and then also there's just a lot of people you got to figure out who they are.
Okay, but there is at least like 15 minutes of that show that I watched last night of like people dancing and like making thumbs up and like covering themselves in water or whatever, like just dancing in front of a camera. There's probably like 15 minutes of that that could have been cut when they were introducing the characters because they weren't saying anything about themselves when they were doing it. They were just like splash water on my chest, run my fingers through my hair, stick out my boobs, and I'm just like, "Oh, okay." But it was like a lot of that. It was like maybe too much of that because
Well,
I wanted to
viewers
like
have
hear them speak.
viewers have to have time to like get up and go to the bathroom.
Right? That's right. I can only watch these people dance in a shipping container for 3 to 5 seconds at a time.
Yeah. Well, if you decide to keep with it, I hope you know that I'm happy to talk about it.
Thank you. I think that this is a good time for us to get to some questions because this overlaps with some questions.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's hear what's on people's minds.
So yes, I asked listeners for questions because I knew we were coming back on, and I was like, we there hasn't been a lot of Blazer basketball, so we're gonna need some stuff to talk about. So Jesse sent a question, Paint and PDX. Sorry, no reality questions, but been missing the pod big time. Are you both getting a nice reset from the season? And how do you feel about potentially adding a rookie or rookies to the team next week? So I'll say watching Love Island was one of the ways in which I've decided to reset. I don't really know if I'll continue, but I'll see. If it's going to be on every night, that feels like a huge commitment.
We'll see how it goes. A lot of people just watch one and go, not for me, and that's fine. A lot of people go, maybe I'll watch like one or two more. And sometimes, you just all of a sudden it's like 6 o'clock. When's the drop on Peacock? And then all of a sudden you're like, Wednesday night, what am I supposed to do with myself? And then on Saturday nights, they have this thing called the Love Island After Sun, which is more of a like kind of like reset for like everything that happened on the week and what's coming up next week. And they have guests on, and it's really like they don't talk to Islanders. And that's like the day that Islanders actually get off to just like relax because it's not in real time, but it's very close to real time compared to other shows. But anyway, the question was not about a reality show. The question was about how are we resetting. And I did just like do a complete like basketball detox because
Mm.
I was just getting so tired of the dialogue about like all these things that we don't have any control over. Right. And I was just like, I'm not going to engage in this because no one is going to, from the Blazers, is going to call me up and say, who should we draft? Or like, how do you feel about trading Jeremy Grant? I'm just going to, it has nothing to do with me. So I like did a total pretty much a basketball detox. But to get ready for the podcast, because I knew I needed to like get psyched again about the Blazers. Last night I rewatched all of the season 3 of The Trail, the
Mm.
Blazers little mini documentary that they
Hmm.
did. And it was kind of fun. It was like it it was each episode's like 12 to 15 minutes long. And have you watched those?
Yeah, I haven't watched probably every single episode, but I've watched most of them.
Yeah, and it's weird because, I love Blazer content, but I never was like super excited every time an episode of The Trail dropped. I was like, "Oh, what are we gonna?" Because it was just kind of
Mhm.
like highlights or whatever. So it did work in that it got me excited about talking about the Blazers again, especially to get ready for the podcast. But it also put in my mind the reminder that we have to be vigilant about what we are being told. Because it was like I was watching it and because I like streamed all of them right in a row. I was like, are we gonna talk about the not so good stuff? Like, I'm sure they mentioned it, but it was so like in passing.
Mm,
It was all like about the connection, about the camaraderie, and all that stuff that I love. But it also kind of didn't really talk about any of the real lows that we saw last season, at least that like made it through the filter to
yeah.
me. And I think that with the team being up for sale, I think they're going to be even more deliberate in the messages that they're sending out about the team. And so I'm just going to have my radar on to make sure, as I always try to do, but then to just like, okay, what are they what's really going on, and let's be honest about things that are hard or that are struggling. And but anyway, I did get really excited because it was really fun. And I gotta say, every time they show DeAndre Ayton, that guy is just a ball of energy and like positive fun. And I don't know if that's what he's really like in real life. Again, we got to be careful about the messages that they're sending out. But I sure enjoyed every time he came on the screen. He'd always be like, "That's how PDX does it." It was like he kept calling it Portland PDX. That's how PDX does it. That's how we do in PDX. I was like, did you move into the airport? I don't Anyway, it was fun.
That's cute. He always like I know that there's always conversation around him, but every time I see him, he seems so happy and pure. I'm just like, I just want to enjoy that for what it is without the, does he make too much money? What's his role? What's the future? Like, at a
Yeah.
certain point, I'm just happy to have a good vibes person on this team, especially because we're not winning this year. We're not winning next year. So, like, vibes are still pretty important.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm
I feel
excited to
like
see.
I think we've talked about it before, but I think when he came to Portland, he finally just gets to be himself.
Yeah,
And I always
I
like
think
that.
that's right. And I've heard him say really nice stuff about Chauncey, where he's like, Chauncey saved me. You know,
Hmm.
he like they use a really important part of his basketball journey. And if DeAndre Ayton feels that way about Chauncey, I think that that means something because as you and I both know, after reading about his journey to the NBA, a lot of people did not treat him well on his
Hmm.
basketball journey. So it's at least very nice for me to know that he believes that Chauncey Billups has done right by him.
Hmm.
And he's going to be our coach for like 3 more years.
So here we are.
So here we are. And that's just done. And like, it's one of those things where I'm like, it's done. I like there's no relitigating that. That it is what it is. Or at least he's expected to be, I should say, because you
Hmm.
can always get fired.
Yeah. And you got to pick your battles.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of which, you know how you were talking about like the journey to a winning team earlier? I was thinking about how like one through line from the Pacers like journey to success involved Nate Bjorkgren. So Nate Bjorkgren is here. So maybe he's gonna be our little like stepping stone on the way to being a finals team. Who knows?
Maybe. And also okay, I might have this wrong. So maybe you could fact check me. Did the Pacers win the first in-season tournament? Did they win it last year? Who
I think they
won?
did.
So I'm just saying, okay, fact check me on that first before I say my thing. Maybe this will be my take. Is because what I want to say is that winning the in-season tournament is not nothing.
Oh no, I think that they lost. So they
They lost in
lost.
the finals.
They lost to the Lakers. Remember? Because we all felt like in that first season they like put their finger on the scale for the Lakers to even get there.
That's right.
And then all we did here was hear LeBron talk about wanting a team in Vegas
Yeah,
ad nauseum forever.
that's right. But they did make it to the finals of the in-season tournament cup. And so that's not, no, I'm just going to say that's not nothing. It's a little taste of winning. And we've been talking about how our team needs tastes of winning. And, trying to compete for the in-season tournament could be another little stepping stone, like Nate
You know who also
Bjorkgren or Chad Buchanan.
lost the in-season tournament this year? This year.
OKC.
OKC.
Oh, all right. So
Losing
let's
it.
go. Blazers lose the in-season tournament cup finals.
Yep, that's right.
Okay,
They
who
lost
won it? I don't even remember who won it.
the Bucks. Dame won
Oh,
hardware, but like not really.
poor Damian Lillard. Oh God,
I
that poor
know.
guy. Come home, Dame.
It's
Poor
like
guy.
I think he has had a wonderful career, but the types of awards that he's won really give people ammunition for him, and it feels crappy.
Yeah. Yeah,
It feels unfair.
he's gotten shortchanged on a lot of his legacy, I think, when it
I
should
know.
be so pristine and so good.
Yeah, the number of people who want to talk about his Mickey Mouse MVP and his now his in-season tournament win.
Championship.
Nah.
Okay, what other questions do we have?
Okay, the next question is from Keanu Reeve Books, which we've
Oh,
talked about
another
Keanu Reeve
Keanu Reeves.
Books. Yes. I tend to not do much college basketball watching and therefore not much scouting, but is there anyone you're looking forward to maybe becoming a Blazer? How easy is it for you to open your heart to a new rookie? I feel like we've had it pretty easy the last couple drafts.
So to answer to the first part of the question is no. There's nobody because I have not spent an ounce of time with trying to figure out who the Blazers might take, and I am just gonna wait and find out who they pick, and then embrace that person because the answer to the second part of the question is yes, I'm so excited. That's my favorite part. That's our favorite part is getting new players on the team because we get to learn all about new people and what their journey was and who they are. And yeah, so I think what I will do is whoever the Blazers pick, the first thing I'll do is go see if Holy Backboard did an episode on them because Holy Backboard, they are great about watching all of the prospects and talking about
Yeah.
them, their strengths and their weaknesses. So I'll go there first. And then I will learn as much as I can about who they are as a person so we can talk about them. How about
Yeah,
you?
I'm kind of the same. I don't like to window shop because I don't want to decide that I don't want something that I might end up having anyway, you know, and I don't want to fall in love with somebody that I really, really, really want on my team and then see them go to some team that I hate. And so like it's like a little bit of self-preservation that I
Mhm.
can't like get too invested in who I hope is on my team. Um, because I don't like if my team is going to draft a guy that I've already decided I don't like compared to the field, I don't want to walk in with that feeling about that person. Like I'm going to get to know who they are and try to appreciate what they can offer and what they can grow into on my team. And I don't know. I really bummed if a guy like that ended up on my team and then I never gave him a fair shot.
Mhm.
And or if I really fell in love with another guy that ended up on a team that I hate and I was like, I just want to root against you with a clean mind.
Yeah, I think no matter what, you would give a new person a fair shot because I think you always do. So I'll just say that.
Thank you.
Um, I remember the last time I really got attached to people in a draft class, I fell in love with Tyrese Maxey. And I
Oh,
feel good about that selection as just in terms of like who he's become in the NBA. But it's for me it's less about like finding somebody that like I'm not that enthused about and then having them end up on my team and it's more about me like loving these six players and they all went somewhere else. So like what's even the point?
I know, because you don't want to like be sitting there like lusting after players on other teams that are never going to be on your team. Like, what's the use of that?
And do you want to know why I like Tyrese Maxey so much?
Is it
So
because he's good at basketball? Please say it's because he's good at basketball, because he's good at basketball.
well, he's good at basketball. And when he was doing workouts, he did like a private workout with like a bunch of Clutch players. And he said he was really honored to have been asked by Clutch to play for in front of guys like LeBron James and Gary Trent Jr.
Oh,
I was like, I love him.
that's so sweet. But also, he's really good at basketball, and
And
like,
he's really good at basketball. I actually really liked Jared, who's their rookie last year? Jared McCain, what's his name? I
oh, McCain, is it McCain?
McCain?
I think it's Jared
You
McCain.
know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
The
I do know who you're
guy
talking
who does
about.
all the great TikToks. I really liked him too, and I love that he turned out to be a really good player as well.
Yeah, he's Jared McCain.
Jared McCain. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Anyway,
the
so
the
yeah, I try not to get my my heart set on anybody in college. And also, Oh, to kind of go back to that question, the Blazers have been taking so many international, smartly, I think, taking so many international players that even watching college basketball doesn't really always mean that we're going to get somebody who play college basketball.
Yeah, it's true. Like there's a ton of guys coming from EuroLeague. Like that feels like a very like for a while it felt like a sporadic pipeline, and now it feels like a firm pipeline that like if you don't have scouts in watching EuroLeague for you, like you're behind.
Hmm.
There's so
Yeah.
many guys that are coming from EuroLeague here. And the style of basketball that we're playing now in the NBA, I think is more suited to like that comparison of
Hmm.
style.
And I'm perfectly happy to listen to like mock drafts and who people think they're going to take. I'm just not going to get attached to any of them. So whoever Keanu Reeves, I'm curious who Keanu Reeves wants. If they, I don't know if Keanu is a male or a female behind this account. So I don't know if they have somebody that they've got their eye on. Feel free to tell us.
Yeah, I think their handle on Blue Sky is James something.
Mm, okay.
So, James, uh, let us know who you're interested in. It sounds like you haven't also been watching a lot of college, but if you watch other types of basketball, like EuroLeague, you might have a really good idea of who you want. And also, we know that our GM likes to watch international basketball. That's the other thing, is that Mike Schmitz has had his eye on Europe for a while.
Mhm.
So, cool. Um, the next one is from Jason from Hecubus. Not a basketball question, but what's one thing you're looking forward to doing this summer?
Well, you talked about having your mom come to visit.
Hmm.
Mm, okay, this is random. I've had one watermelon and one cantaloupe so far, and
Ooh.
they were not great this season. And I'm wondering if it is just maybe not a great year for melons, or maybe not a great year for melons from where they're currently coming from right now, because I think they're coming from California, which has had a lot of challenges, especially with the growing. Um,
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to some really good watermelon, and I hope this is going to turn out to be a good watermelon season because I love watermelon and I love watermelon season. So I'm looking forward. Okay, so I think I'm looking forward to like some really good summer produce, especially the melons, and I'm hoping they're going to be good.
Fingers crossed. It's not always a good melon season though. Like
Right.
some seasons it's like it's practically like winter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I tasted them and they just they felt like they didn't have enough sun or enough time. And again, it could be, where they are, but it also, yeah, sometimes, produce just sometimes it's not a great season for whatever. But I think it's a really good season for nectarines and peaches because I've already had some really, really good
Mm.
ones.
Very good. Uh, I will say, and if we're talking about produce, I'm really looking forward to so I'll say suddenly my daughter is like really interested in doing new stuff, which is wild because she was not interested in new stuff. Like she's interested in familiar foods, familiar activities, things that are predictable, as like a lot of kids I think are. But suddenly this year it's like she got into Taekwondo and suddenly she wants to be like responsible and also try new stuff, which is great. Um, she's like, show me how to clean the toilets. Also, I want to eat this food that I never wanted to eat before.
Ah,
So
wow, that's an amazing Taekwondo teacher.
I know. I'm like, everybody go take your kid to Taekwondo because apparently this is what it took to unlock my child's like openness to the world. But I'm looking forward to finding more foods, more like produce that she likes. Because she's not really been a veggie kid. She's even picky about her fruits because like a lot of them have seeds that are she doesn't like the texture of. Um, but I think it might be a really fun eating season for us, because she's interested in foods she wasn't interested in before.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Also melon. I also am a big melon fan, I will say. And wait, is watermelon your favorite melon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How about you?
I think watermelon is my so I do love watermelon and it's I ate a ton of it when I was pregnant because I was really into watermelon, but then it was really bad for blood sugar and I had gestational diabetes in my third trimester of pregnancy. And so I stopped eating it and I haven't really gone back to it, but I feel like I could probably go back to it and like fall in love with it again. But I've been more of a honeydew person
Hmm.
since.
I'm a late comer to honeydew. I didn't always
Mm.
like honeydew. I don't know why. I just think it was one of those things that I just kind of like never tried. I always ate the orange and not the green. And
Mhm.
then I started eating different kinds of cantaloupes, and then I just started eating honeydew, and I was like, ooh, yeah. So,
Very similar texture.
mhm.
Okay. We have two more questions. One from Opinionated Wino, aka Sean. Uh, Thoughts on running back the fire name?
I'm fine with it. I think it's exciting. I was kind of surprised that some people weren't excited about it. I
Hmm.
mean, I don't think there was anything about the team that would have made people not want to remember and honor the original team. I think it is a good companion to the Blazers, Fire. And, as regards that like Bill Oram article, was the one where
Yeah.
he was like, you had one job and it was to not name it after the thing that is gonna destroy Oregon. And I would say it's not fire, it's climate change. And I think I would have had a big problem if they had been like named it after climate change.
The Portland climate change.
Right. But like fire is like an element. It's like a
Hmm.
very important and like critical element that we shouldn't take for granted. And I just
Some
think it's
call it
cool.
some call it the most important discovery of human, like for humans, like
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah. And oh, here comes my cat.
Oh, hello. Um,
How
is
about you?
Reddick? This is Reddick here in your hand.
This is Cora.
This is Cora. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll say two things. I can see both sides of this conversation, and I'm not trying to do the both sides things here, but here's my thing. I didn't like the fire name the first time. I thought it felt too much like, and like the branding of it felt too much like the heat. Like
Mm,
the look of it, the colors, everything about it felt too much like the heat the first time around.
hmm
But I like the idea of going back to the team that never did anything wrong that people have a lot of strong attachment to.
hmm
So, like, I can kind of see both aspects of this. Like, standing on its own, there are a lot of other names I would probably like a lot better than the Fire for our WNBA team. But I do like the idea that we're going back to the original name because that team was around for a short period of time. Some people still really love and adore that team and feel a strong attachment to it. And why should it necessarily need another name? But also, it's fine. I would have liked something different for Portland at the beginning,
Yeah. I
but
feel like they took a really long time to just run it
keep the
back.
same name. Yeah. But also, isn't that such a Portland thing to do? Is
Yes.
to like have a bunch of buildup for something that you're like, it's just the same thing it's been the whole time. That feels very Portland.
Well, and I also wonder, like, and I know this is not likely, but I know that, like, the reason we believe it's going to be the fire is because they filed patents or trademarks
Yeah.
for the ownership group filed trademarks for that for merchandise and for naming and all these things. So it's like pretty obvious. But wouldn't that be funny if they were totally trolling us and it was going to be something else entirely?
I would love that actually. Especially because can I just say, I hate the P. If you saw the
Why?
trademark filer, because it looks like the Oregonian, it looks old-timey.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna make good tattoos, and we love tattoos. Like it just it doesn't feel good to me. It feels like I think the thing about old-timey is old-timey feels like it's more about tradition.
hmm
And I think your WNBA team should not be necessarily about tradition because it's about breaking traditions. And I
Yeah.
think that something more modern would have been better.
I think you make a really good point. I didn't have super strong opinions about it. I just thought the stem was too short. But I really like what you're saying about how like the WNBA should be like modern. We are breaking all these traditions. Like it's there's something about traditions that are, worth keeping, but also we need to think about how we're going to move forward as a humanity in the future, and like maybe it's time to stop hanging on to things that didn't serve you know good chunks of the population well.
Yeah. That's just that's my big gripe with it is the P, honestly. I'll say like when I looked at that P, I was like, what kind of F could they make with this font? This is going to be an ugly. This is going to be ugly if they're going to stick with this font. I
Yeah.
hope that they don't, but like, ooh.
It'll be hard to
Um,
read too. I don't like it when they don't think about how I think you've said this before, but when you can't read the names because the font is too fancy.
yeah, totally. And like, so all those little like tiny detailed, like if you think about like people here love to get tattoos.
Hmm.
People, there's a ton of blazer tattoos out there. That's not going to tattoo well because all those tiny fine lines are going to fade and look like crap over time. You need something that is like going to make a great tattoo for Portland.
Yeah. Like the pinwheel. Well, I'm anxious also maybe like because we haven't seen what the rest of the branding looks like.
That's true. So we'll see. We'll see. We don't actually know that that's happening. It would be fu really, really funny if they were trolling us. Um, but I think could have done
Think they're
better, could
probably
have done
not.
worse. It's fine. We have one more question.
Okay.
This one is like pretty high level for us.
Uh-oh. Can we handle it?
Yeah. 20,000 Thorns asks, what does 2025 you think about Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan still working together and building a roster that's in the finals? Also, what does 2010 you think?
So,
Two-part question and it's high level.
2025 me thinks, good job. Way to go. Because realistically, we can't expect everything to go on forever, and we can't expect that if they were still in Portland that they would have had the same type of success. Maybe things could have gone a different way if they had stayed, but they didn't, and there's nothing I can do but just like react to that. I can't change it.
Mhm.
So like yeah, good job. I'm happy for him. I really am.
Good job, Chad and Kevin.
Oh,
Uh, and then what does 2010 you think? That's the other.
um, so 2010 me, I'm trying to think of 2010. Um,
So
so I had,
let me set the stage. Let me set the stage for you. In 2010, the Blazers finished third in the Northwest Division. The coach was Nate McMillan, and the roster was this was LA, this was pre-Dame. It was the Andre Miller era of the Blazers. Rudy Fernandez was here, Nick was here, um, Patty Mills was here, Brandon Roy was still on this roster, um, Marcus Camby, and they
yeah.
finished third in the
Okay, that
division.
was a fun roster.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Marcus Camby. That was so cool. I remember being there for that. That was, LaMarcus, but like LaMarcus didn't have, I guess he had Brandon Roy and how I wonder how injured Roy was at that time. And I don't I still don't think 2010 me would have 2010 me was not thinking about who the general managers were.
It's
Honestly.
fair.
2010 me was enjoying just watching basketball. It was before I started paying attention to all of the details. And so maybe because of that, I would have been like, hey, how
Mm.
come they get to win? Why'd we let them go? But honestly, 2010 me probably couldn't have named who the general manager was.
Yeah, 2010 me didn't care that much about executives. They're like, I looked back and I was like, oh, the executive of for the 2010-2011 season was Rich Cho. Oh, I do remember he was an executive here. Huh, okay. And then I moved on. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I thought about executives that much then. Um, and modern, like 2025 me thinks like, I mean, everybody's a loser until they win, you know? Like, and it's not like it's the same dudes over and over and over again building the same building like winning rosters is not necessarily the same coaches winning like championships over and over again. I think it's like a lot of a combination of different pieces and like, all bread has flour, but some of it's amazing and some of it's crappy. And there's a lot of other things that you have to care about and get lucky with to
Yeah.
win.
and you can't hold on to things for too long. You know, you got to let them go. And I like that's kind of like when people ask me about they say, "Oh, you must, hate the trade season. You must hate it when people get traded, or you must hate it when like the Blazers don't sign like free agents or whatever, like they don't aren't able to keep free agents." And I've said this before, like I look at it like they've just moved on to the next thing. And I'm excited to bring in the new folks. Like I look at it like they're graduating from college. Like you were here on your rookie 4-year deal, and now it's time for you to fly and see what the rest of the world holds for you. And I want you to be successful and be happy in that world. So I don't really get I don't feel like somebody could probably give me examples of other times where I didn't, but I just don't feel that we should be holding on to everybody forever. Um, it was even
Yeah,
time
'cause
for Damian Lillard to fly, although I wish he would come back because I just think he would be happier.
I know. I do think that there is this element of like, well, you can't hold people back from their potential if you hang on to them too long and you're no longer the right place for them. And I think about that in terms of players, and I don't know why I wouldn't think that about GMs as well, although I haven't thought about it as much. But like, not every place is the right place for something to thrive. So here's the analogy I have in my head. There are native plants and non-native plants all over the place, right? And sometimes you just need to find the right place for something to thrive. But, it's not necessarily everywhere. Like we have I don't know, I have like three Doug firs right behind my house. And like Doug firs, like in Oregon, they're at home in this climate and whatever, but you're not gonna go plant them in Florida. Like, like maybe not everyone is meant to like work out everywhere, and that's okay. And make sure that it's fine that you let them go and do other things. I don't know. Like I try not to hold on to that stuff too long because as much as I love guys, I also we don't get new players if we don't let other players walk away. And we
Hmm.
don't get to know new people and we don't get to like find other basketball players that we enjoy or other styles of basketball that we enjoy. Like that's actually one of the things I enjoy about Chauncey Billups is it's a completely different style of basketball than we got under Terry Stotts. And that is interesting to me. I don't know if it's better, but it's interesting to watch. And so, like, I can just appreciate that. I don't get to experience new things if I hold on to all the stuff that I like forever.
Yeah, and we've also talked about it. It's like that just means we have more Blazer cuties all over the place, and we have expands the family. And I haven't really thought about it in terms of, executives, but now that we're practically best friends with Mike Schmidt and Andre Patterson, but you know what I mean? Like it just expands the family a little bit more, and that's probably the most likely scenario for me to like learn more about other teams is when a former player from the Blazers goes somewhere else. Like just the other morning, I asked my husband, I was like, what do you think Pat Connaughton is up to? Just randomly out of the blue. Cause I was just like kind of in my head, I was thinking about, oh, you wonder what some of the former Blazers are up to. And then turns out he got an extension. Um, oops.
He is such an interesting Blazer cutie. Or I don't know if we consider him a Blazer cutie. I don't think we've litigated Pat Connaughton's Blazer
Oh,
cutie
he's totally a
status.
Blazer cutie, I would say.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, I just wasn't sure because we hadn't talked about it. But
No.
he's one of those guys where I'm like, he's an important, he has an important role on a team where he's not like a star.
Hmm. Yeah.
And he just keeps getting deals.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Good for him. Happy
Yeah.
for him. Does that do for all of our questions?
That is all of our questions for today. But thank you to everybody who sent them to
Yeah.
us because it's good to reflect back on the things that I think people are thinking about. And I'll say like thank you to you all for not asking us about who should be traded. Because I'm really bad at participating in conversations like that because it's like fan fiction
I
for
know. I
me.
think our brand is strong. People know that we're not going to have thoughts on that. All right. Well, shall we move on to the big event?
Yes. So
Okay.
today we are here to announce the winners of the 2025 What Awards. Uh, because you all voted, and we all thank you for voting and having your voices heard on this very important, prestigious award list set of awards. And it's a very big deal for us because this year Tara and I have resolved and we've made decisions. we're making awards and we're going to send them to the players this year. We'll send them to the arena, and if they make it to the players, then great. But we want them to know how much we all appreciate them this year.
We're going to be looking for him, hopefully.
Yes. So 2025 What Awards, asterisk, the most prestigious awards.
Hopefully you can see my screen. So if you're watching on YouTube, hopefully you can see my screen and my very fancy graphics that I have made. If you're listening, just trust me, I've made the greatest award of graphics ever made in the history of graphics ever.
That's right. Yes. There should be a What Award for that. Um, okay, so the first award you all voted on was for Best Accessorizer. And this one was tough. We brought it back because we decided to go with Best Accessorizer after having Most Improved Fits last year. And this year's nominees were DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Jeremy Grant, and Jabari Walker. We had a rousing discussion about our pants accessories and identified a hole in the game of like there could maybe be some more interesting bags.
Are we ready to reveal the winner?
Yes, let's reveal the winner.
So the winner of Best 2025 What Awards Best Accessorizer is Jeremy Grant. Pictured here, we have him walking in the tunnel with a really nice bolo tie on, but we have seen him in all kinds of different kinds of creative accessories that go along with his very nice fashion sense and outfit. So congratulations to Jeremy Grant. I'm curious, Rose, is that who you voted for?
It's not who I voted for.
Me
I
either.
I will confess that okay, so first of all, I will say I fought hard. I fought for Jabari Walker on this because I wanted to honor his fashion journey that we've seen over the years. And also I think that he has stepped up his fashion game and then also added accessories this last year because of his glasses. But I didn't even vote for him, even though I fought for his nomination. I voted for DeAndre Ayton because I can't get over DeAndre Ayton's chains. I can't get over his wallet chains, his belt buckle. I thought the belt buckle situation was inspired. I voted for DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, I DeAndre Ayton also had my vote because of his gorgeous, gorgeous sparkly diamonds. But you know what? That's why we put it out to vote. And the people have chosen Jeremy Grant, who I have to say also is definitely, definitely a fashion icon.
He really like if there was like a Hall of Fame like blazer fashion icon, he's definitely in it. Like he's continued to show out every year. He does interesting stuff every year. He makes his own accessories sometimes. Like he really has a fashion point of view, and we are very lucky that he has brought it here for so many years.
Congratulations, Jeremy Grant.
The 2025 What Awards Best Accessorizer. Moving on. The next award is Most Improved Blazer. And can I say that I thought this one was hard this year, and I was so pleased that it was hard this year. The nominees that we had were Tumani Kamara for obvious reasons. Second team all defense, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Tumani Kamara, Shaden Sharp, Denny Avdia, and Scoot Henderson. Those were our four nominees. And I will say three of these four guys were on our team last year. So it was a little bit easier, I think, to think about their improvement because we saw so much of them the previous year. Denny wasn't on this team last year. And you can like look at it like from a stats perspective, but I doubt very many people watched as many Wizards games as I did last season. And so it
Nor
was like
will
a
as
harder
many people
comparison.
ever.
That's right. It's not great. Um, so those were our four nominees. Um, and I don't know, like before we reveal the winner here, can you tell me, did these feel like the right nominees for you? Because I feel like there also could have been like eight nominees.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said at the beginning, which was just the fact that we had so many people to choose from is exactly what we needed and hoped for this
Yeah.
season. I think I think they were. I think these were the right ones because they played a lot. And so we really got to see the most. I think one of the things that was hardest about it is it was like, was it most improved from last season to the end of the season or from the beginning of this season to the end of the season? And depending how you thought from there, I think maybe you went, people might have had different answers. But yeah, I think so. Who else do you think would have been had who do you want to bring up for honorable mention?
Well, I think we talked about honorable mentions before, but I do think like we talked about Jabari because Jabari, I thought like he didn't play a lot at the beginning of the season. He was out of the rotation, but then when he was getting minutes at the end, he looked quite good. And I think we're all really impressed to see his development from shooting from three. Like that wasn't the Jabari we knew before. And but these are also guys where we can it's easier for us to honor their journey because we've seen so much more of them for multiple years in a row, not just this year. Um, so I liked him. I also think um I also say like we didn't talk about him really, but like I thought DeAndre Ayton had a really great season. And before he got hurt, like that winning streak, I think starts because of him. Like he played it really well when we started winning a lot. And I think, people weren't really sure if he was capable of like contributing to team winning in that way or leading team winning in that way. So he's also somebody I thought about.
It's almost like we could have had a most surprising player, and I would have given that to him.
Yeah, it's
Just based
true.
on what our expectations of him were.
Yeah, we got to see more of his like guard skills this season than like last season. And I don't know, like it's just nice to see those guys showcase off all of their skills
Hmm.
instead of just the ones that like the team needs at any particular time. But when you're developing, you get more opportunity to do those things because you're not trying to fit into a the winning box yet.
Hmm.
So anyway, shall we reveal the winner?
Are you ready?
I'm
Here we
ready.
go. The winner of the 2025 What Awards for Most Improved Blazer is Tumani, second team all defense, Tamani Kamara. Congratulations, Tamani, for this very prestigious award. Um, you know, uh, I almost, with Tumani, I think the thing that was the most improved with him is that his offense continued, that he continued to like have offense. And that was kind of falls back into that most surprising category because he
Yeah.
really, for me, like he sustained in a surprising way, in a thing that I didn't think that he was going to. But congratulations to Tomani.
His like 3-point shooting, what like the growth there was exceptional. And you're right, surprising. It was like one of the most surprising things of the whole season that he was one of our best 3-point shooters on the team.
Yeah.
I would not have picked that to have happened this year, but I'm very grateful it did.
Oh, and I think another thing that shows his market improvement is the way that the whole team was able to adapt around him. You know what I mean? Like if
Hmm.
he'd had just like this extraordinary ability to defend, but it was all just him, it would only be so useful. But the fact that I think he also makes everybody a better defender. I think that's really important.
Yeah, totally agree. And
And yeah,
he looks like he was using his voice more.
yeah. Yeah, and from for being just a second year player, had to have that strong of an impact was like, this it's almost like his impact was what was the most improved part of it. Like he was always doing this thing, but all of a sudden everybody realizing the impact of it. Both his own teammates, the other teams now having to like plan and for how they're going to react when Tumani Kamara is guarding their best player. Like that was a
Hmm.
huge impact. So yeah, congratulations to Tumani.
Yeah, what an amazingly fun ride it's been, and I'm very um excited to see what he's gonna come back with next season.
I'll say yes, last night when I was watching the trail, they had like clips of the season ticket holder event where I told you that I met him and he was like the most charming, talkative person that I could not believe. They quoted him in the trail and he said something like, "Yeah, it was really great to hear the feedback from the fans." And it was so perfect to picture Tumani, like taking in feedback. Like it just made perfect sense to me.
I love that so much. Okay, so moving on. The next award that we're going to give out is Most Valuable Blazer. And I think that this one felt like we knew who was probably going to win it, but we still went through the motions of finding four nominees, and I actually think they were good. Our nominees for Most Valuable Blazer this year were Denny Avdia, Mike Schmitz and Andre Patterson as a unit, DeAndre Ayton, and Tumani Kamara.
And the winner is
This is not
2025
surprising.
What Awards Most Valuable Blazer is Denny Avdia. Congratulations, Denny.
This one's not a surprise to me, like at all. I think that by the end of the season, like Blazer fans knew the value that he added to this team and how important he was to the style of basketball that we were playing this season and defining an identity. Um, but and I'll say this is of all of the award, like all the awards, this was the most lopsided vote. He ran away with this one. Um, and I don't know. It felt very inevitable to me, but how do you feel?
I mean, I think this was the result wasn't a surprise, but if you had asked me at the beginning of the season if I thought that Denny Avdia would win Most Valuable Blazer, I would have been like, "Are you crazy?" I did not think of it as him, especially because he got off to a rough start.
Yeah.
He did not find his footing for quite a while. But I like what you just said, and I'm gonna repeat it, where like he helped the Blazers find their identity, and that's what we've been looking for. And if our identity is you play like Denny Avdia, is you play with a full head of steam downhill at all times, and you just don't let up. And yeah, that's not what I would have expected from him because I didn't watch a lot of Wizards basketball last year, and because his start was a little bit rough.
Yeah, honestly, like his end of year stats probably would have been so much better if you just like lopped October and half of November off
Hmm.
because he didn't really find the kind of game he wanted to play either. And honestly, like it's kind of refreshing that now the identity of our team is you play hard both ways.
I
Like,
know. It's so fun.
like,
I
for
completely
so
forgot
many
what it was
seasons,
like.
we did not have that mentality about us. They like wanted that to be the identity, but it never was.
Yeah, this year we're really going to focus on defense and we'd be like, "Yes." And then, 2 weeks into it, we'd be like, "Okay, never mind."
Yeah. It's like it was a good try, but like it wasn't like they were always trying to like make like the team follow like Mo Harkless's lead or something. You know what I mean? Like guys that were like not defensive monsters. And I don't think that Denny is as like he's not defensively what Tumani is, but he's pretty good defensively for someone who's as good as he is offensively. He's a pretty great two-way guy. And it's just been so long since like a guy like that's been leading the team,
Hmm.
playing hard both ways.
Yeah, and I'm super curious who the Blazers are going to look to add as a complement to guys like Denny and Tumani.
Yeah, agree. Um, so yeah, congratulations, Denny. What an amazing first season we had with you, and you surprised both of us. Uh, okay, so the next award we're going to give out is Social Media Play of the Year. I This one was tight. This was the closest vote we had, which is to say that everyone in some ways is kind of a winner. But you're not actually, because only one actually won. But it was, I'll say, second was close and it was tied. So there's like a tie for second. And this was a contentious award this season, I will say. So the four nominees we had for social media play of the year was Blue Sky after the great Twitter exodus. So everyone at Blue Sky, everyone, all the Blazers Twitter folks who became Blazer Blue Sky. Blazer Social, the official Blazer Social, peeks behind the scenes and for coming to Blue Sky for us because we knew that like the NBA like officially wants everybody on Twitter or whatever, but they also listened to the fans and came to Blue Sky for us, for those of us who didn't want to be on Twitter anymore. The third was Jeremy Grant supporting local businesses on Instagram, and he started making like nice reels and content about the kind of him exploring Portland and actually the whole Pacific Northwest and like showcasing places that he liked to go and shop, and um, that was all really great. And then, of course, the fourth nominee was friend of the podcast, Connor Birkin, for reporting on Two Hands for Safety, which is basically now like canon. I know that one was very near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, that one got my vote. Connor, you had my vote. I don't know how well, you're gonna announce how it turned out, but Connor, I voted for you.
Yeah. And I will say, I don't remember who I voted for here because it was all kind of close and everyone there's a good reason for everybody, but I don't actually remember who I voted for. Okay. Do you want to announce the winner?
Yes, let's reveal the winner. Social media play of the year was Jeremy Grant and his support for small businesses. We love somebody who supports local small businesses. Everybody should go do it. Go out and buy something today from your local small business. Good job, Jeremy Grant.
Yes, and for also making it to the Oregon coast and showcasing what you saw there. Because as everyone knows, that's our litmus test now for how committed you are to Portland is whether or not you have seen the coastline.
So that's two awards for Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, Jeremy is a double award
They both
winner.
have to do with shopping. Good job, Jeremy.
Good job. The fifth award am I counting right? The fifth award.
Is this the penultimate one?
No, there's two more. There's two awards.
Yes, penultimate is the second to last. So,
Okay, forget I said that.
yeah.
Yes, yes, the penultimate one. Um, Blazer Legend.
The Josh Hart Memorial Award.
The Josh Hart Memorial Award, Blazer Legend. We had four nominees, and I'll say that this one was also hard this year. It always is. The first nominee was Damian Lillard for announcing the scholarship at PSU for students who want to study in Portland from Oakland, um, which was announced over All-Star break. I won't leave that tidbit out because it was, I don't know, great for him to showcase Portland in All-Star
I know.
over All-Star weekend.
I was like, right on.
The second nominee is kind of the haters nominee, which is the Yusuf Nurkic for so many reasons. None of them very like positive in nature, I would say.
Well,
But
and we were hoping that he was gonna speak something into existence because remember he said to Orlando needed his little buddy in Portland.
oh, that's right. But he couldn't say his name.
Yes, and it looks like Orlando is not going to make use of the services of his little buddy in Portland. But
Yeah,
thank you for saying it out loud, Yusuf Nurkic.
that's right. They went with a different buddy.
Yes.
So your little buddy is still here in Portland. Nurk. The third nominee is Evan Turner subbing for, did he sub for Lamar? He subbed for Lamar on the broadcast.
Did he sub in or was he just like an extra? It was like at the end of the year when they were just throwing anything in to make us watch.
Yeah, and it was weird because he was on the road.
Yeah.
So like he wasn't like in the I was a little bummed that they did it on the road because but I think it was he was subbing for Lamar on the
Okay.
road. And but I was like, bring him into Moda Center. Let him do it like, I mean, I know he's on TV, but like let him do it in Portland so like the fans can see him and like, yay, Evan Turner. But no, they did it. They instead made him go to Salt Lake City. But Evan Turner on the broadcast at the end of the season, where he like told all the hits,
Yeah.
just all the hits. He told the elevator story. He told everything.
And
Oh,
he
the
even told it, didn't
Zach
he
Collins'
even?
bachelor party.
Yes. Well, and he
Or
talked about,
no, not bachelor party, birthday.
right. Yes. He talked about, yeah, the Zach Collins birthday party. That's right. Yeah. That was the best.
But yeah, so Evan Turner is our third nominee, and the fourth nominee is LaMarcus Aldridge spilling tea about Neil Olshey. Whew.
That's right. Oh man. Telling LaMarcus, no, you can't come back. Even though LaMarcus was like, maybe let's explore this. And he was like, no.
Yeah, like and he said multiple times. Multiple times he tried.
Oh, that makes
And
me so mad.
I know. Um, shall we reveal the winner?
Okay. The winner of the Josh Hart Memorial Award Blazer legend is Evan Turner for his sideline commentary and telling all the stories.
I asked Tara, who did you vote for in this category?
I don't remember. Was this another close one?
Uh, Not particularly.
Oh, okay. Um, I I think I might have voted for LaMarcus because I think anytime I have a chance to vote for LaMarcus, I vote for LaMarcus. Just like that's just how I do.
I think I voted for Dame
Okay.
on this one because I was like, the idea that Dame has been nominated 2 seasons in a row and not won a Blazer legend, not a Blazers legend, feels weird.
Well,
And this was like legit Blazer legend type material that he did. Um, but the other ones, like I admit, are more fun. But Dame is serious. That's the thing is about he's kind of a serious guy. He's not as like flamboyant as some of these other guys.
well, maybe if he had won this award, it would have been one more of those weird awards that he won.
That's right.
Maybe it's good that he didn't win this one.
That's right. He needs to win like an obscure award that has a title that people can laugh at. Although I do think that I thought about voting for LaMarcus as well because it changed the entire way that I thought about that era
Uh-huh.
and LaMarcus and his exit because he we hadn't heard him talk about his time here or what he thought about it. And I don't know, it was just nice to hear that he missed us too.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Evan Turner, who also is a great Blazer legend that I think that he has existed in folklore throughout Blazer fans'
It's
history
kind of
and
amazing the place that he has carved out for himself in the Blazer community. Um, considering the era that he was here and some of the immediate reactions that came out when he came in, he could have been just like fine, but I think he brought a lot more and he really became more than we thought when he was a Blazer.
he also to me seems like maybe the player who has the best legacy here, completely uncoupled from his play. And not to say that he was a bad player, but I think a lot of people complained about his contract at the time and
Mhm.
like what they expected the role for him to fill might be. And it didn't end up being that at all. And he's still beloved by all the fans here. Like none of that conversation ever happened. Because I think a lot of people, like at the time when he was here, a lot of people felt like we paid him too much money to do something that he didn't end up doing for us. And that very, very easily could have colored the entire era that he was here. Like, look at Festus Ezeli. Signed that same off season. But like Evan Turner is still beloved by fans, even though he didn't end up being the thing that we thought he was going to be, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's a great point to bring up because yeah, he there was a lot of talk about how much money he made, but also a lot of talk about how everybody just loved him as a person, and it's almost like maybe we shouldn't talk about how much money people make.
That's right. And it shouldn't color how much we like them.
Yeah.
And like whether we think that that money says something about their how great they are.
Well, and obviously it's important and when it comes to, who the team is and who's on the roster and all that stuff that, GMs and everybody else has to worry about. But for me, having a reaction to how much money somebody makes, it's a good reminder that what you point out about the two different sides of that.
Yeah, that's great. We are down to our last award, Tara.
This is a good one. I'm so excited about this one.
Bench Celebrator Man of the Year, everybody. The award that we brought back from the dead because we saw how that there was so much important stuff being celebrated this year that we could actually give this award out because last season it didn't have a pulse.
Right. Last season, we were like at the beginning of the season when we were thinking about awards, we were like, let's just skip bench celebrator. What are they gonna have to celebrate this year? And we were wrong. And we brought it back because we were like, this is the greatest award ever.
It is when you have stuff to celebrate, and it's
Yeah.
the saddest award ever when you don't have stuff to celebrate because you just feel like you're grasping at anything. So we brought back Bench Celebrator Man of the Year. Our nominees this year were Anthony Simons, DeAndre Ayton, Donovan Clingan, and Scoot Henderson. Honestly, great group of guys. You could have even added more. I think there's other guys that probably totally could have been deserving of nominations as well, but we went with four. Are
Yeah,
you ready to
this
reveal
was
the
hard
winner?
to narrow it down.
Yeah. Are you ready to reveal the winner?
I am. I'm so excited about this. The winner of the 2025 What Awards Bench Celebrator Man of the Year is DeAndre Ayton. Congratulations, DeAndre. This is a very pro DeAndre Ayton podcast. This is probably the most
Yes.
pro DeAndre Ayton podcast, aside from any that may be hosted by his mother or his family. We are big DeAndre Ayton fans here. And to see that he got recognized for his just incessant energy on the bench, even and also just like how much nice stuff he said about Donovan Clingan, who is coming for his job because that is his job to take. Like, that's what Donovan Clingan should be doing. And that DeAndre Ayton said so many supportive things and cheered him on just as loudly as everybody else. I think he is absolutely should have been the winner of this award, and I'm so glad that that people voted for him and he came out the winner on top.
Yeah, I thought he was such a positive force for this team. And like so he was really wonderful when he was playing well and I like I said earlier, like I think he was part of what started our winning streak. And then when he got injured, he was still very present. Like you'd be hard pressed to find another guy so hyped like for this team. And maybe what pushed him over the edge as bench celebrator man of the year is because he got injured, because he was always on the bench ready to celebrate and there was a lot to celebrate at the end of the season. So like weirdly he got hurt at the right time to win this award. But yeah.
Yeah, I think he could have still won it even if he hadn't gotten injured and wasn't there in street clothes every night.
Yeah.
I just think
Yeah.
he so deserves it, and we both want him to be recognized for something so badly.
Yeah, and for something that like he really has brought to this team that I don't know if anyone's brought that same exact thing to this team, which is that joy and positivity from somebody with like he like because he's people look up to him. He's like a veteran on this team because this is such a young team. And he could like set that standard for a lot of these young guys. And that was really like I'm telling you, that picture of DeAndre Ayton rolling around with a speaker in the back is like one of my favorite things ever because he's just rocking out with that speaker. I don't know what music's on it at all, but I've seen clips of it. I've seen pictures of it. It's the best. Like, bring that man to my next wedding. Just kidding. I'm not getting married again.
So congratulations to DeAndre Ayton for Bench Celebrator Man of the Year. Probably of all the prestigious awards, probably the most prestigious one. Because that
For this
means that
podcast.
yes, this is you were the heartbeat, you were the engine that kept us all going and kept us all motivated, and I'm just very happy for him. And congratulations to all the winners of the 2025 awards. I hope that you all brag about it to your best friends, and then when you get your awards in the mail, that you put them up in your locker and you make sure everybody sees them, and so that they know what they're playing for next season.
Yeah. Amen to that. Because you know what? Like these awards aren't going to win themselves. They're going to be highly competitive. We have fans who watch these all season long and are like very knowledgeable. Portland is known for having knowledgeable fans, and in this area especially. So thank you all for voting, and congrats to all the winners. And I feel like this has been a supersized episode because we haven't recorded in a long time. But Tara, I still want to hear your take this week.
Oh
So I'm
man.
going to ask you, June 22nd, 11:50 a.m. There's going to be a game seven tonight in the finals, which you may or may not watch, and that's okay. What's your take today?
Okay, so my take is that I'm just so glad we got to talk again. And I'm so glad that you're well and that you're healthy and that you're strong and that we've got the Blazers to cheer for because I took a little break and it was really good. But this talk today just reminded me what why we do this, that it's not just about the wins and losses. It's about the people that we meet. It's about the friends that we make. It's about taking from it whatever we need. And doing this podcast gives me what I need. And doing these awards also gives me what I need, which is to like think about basketball from a different perspective. And so my takeaway or my take is that I hope people, even though these what awards are silly, I hope that people think about them next year, give us ideas next year about awards that we should be or people we should be giving or nominees that we should people that we should nominate because it's just something, especially while the team is rebuilding, and especially for fans, I just think it's really fun, and I'm just glad this is just super mushy, but I just love the what awards, and I want them to spread. I want more people to be thinking and talking about them. I want more people to be joking about them. It would be so fun to have like Casey Holdall make a joke about somebody winning the what awards or whatever. I just think I love doing these. This is one of my favorite things that we do every year. So that's my take. I don't know what it is.
That's a
I don't
great
know how to
take.
sum it up.
That's a great take. This is going to be like the flip-flop take day because my take is about Love Island.
Okay, that's the like happiest thing in the world. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can really focus on you, in case any questions might come up about Love Island as you give me your take.
Okay, so my take is kind of about like the specifically the design of the house. So my immediate like reaction, I was like, "Oh, this is a cool house." But then I like thought about it like critically, and I was like, "This is a crazy house." I was like, "This is like the Barbie house in the Barbie movie." Like the Did you watch the Barbie movie?
I did not.
Okay, well, okay, so there's like the Barbie dream house, but like there's wallless. There's no
Yes.
walls. It's like, because it's like the toys. So it was like, and then at one point the Kens take over with the patriarchy and they turn the Barbie dream house into the Mojo Dojo Casa house and it's horrible. But the point is that this house that they're in is the Mojo Dojo Casa house meets the Barbie house. And because there's no walls and you can just see into it. And my first reaction was like, I'm very concerned about like mosquito-borne disease
Because
in
you're a
this
public
house
health.
because they're in Fiji and you have to be worried about like mosquito-borne illness in Fiji and they don't have any walls and they're not sleeping with any nets in their weird little like cabin room where everyone sleeps in the same room. Um, but then I thought about it and I was like, I don't know if this happened. Maybe it did. I don't know because I didn't watch. This is season 7 and there's apparently 6 other seasons of this. This would have been such a good show to have a. Remember when they were doing all the Barbie crossover advertising? It was like a Barbie themed waffle at IHOP and whatever. Like they should have done a Barbie crossover version of Love Island because of this weird house. And they could have had Barbie and Ken's because they all get into their little rooms and the guys all talk together and the girls all talk together. And that's exactly what the Barbie movie does. And they could have had the men in the Mojo Dojo Casa house and then the women in the Barbie Dream house. And it would have been like the ultimate marketing crossover for that movie. So what I'm saying is I need a Barbie version of Love Island because of this house.
So what I'm hearing is that you're going to keep watching Love Island. That's what I'm taking away from this.
Well, I haven't seen anybody get leave, and I know that people are leaving, and I still don't know the mechanics of this show yet. So I'm very interested to see who gets to keep going and who gets to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll say this. I don't know if I like anybody, and I don't know if I was talking to my husband about like what could I root for in all of this, and I only have like maybe 2 things that I can really root for so far, but
Well, so okay, I have so many things to say. First of all, I think that they probably did do a Barbie crossover because it's been on for 7 seasons. I
okay.
only started watching in season 6. But like you said, like there was so much Barbie crossover in like the Peacock and Bravo world, that I'm sure that that was probably a part of it. Another thing to think about is terms of how the house is built and constructed is it's built for filming. And so, like, when you think about it, like, what makes filming hard is walls
Yeah.
and things are getting in the way. And, like, so I think, it probably does have a lot of similarities to like a Barbie house, which is just a house that's just like cut open that you can look into. It probably does have a lot of similarities to make it uh, viewable. I love that you say rooting for, because I watch it like it's a team sport. And
Hmm. I
just
mean, it
like a
kind of
team,
is.
just like you watch a team sport, somebody might come out and you go, "What is everybody so excited about this person?" And then you watch them for a while, and then you get it, and you get what they bring, and you get the type of role that they play. So all the people here are playing like different roles. There will be new people come. There are people coming in regularly. They're called bombshells. So in the episode that you watched, the first two bombshells came on. There are times where people are leave. What happens is they recouple. So they may mix themselves up a little bit, like, oh, I was with you, but I'm not really feeling it anymore. So we'll recouple over here, and there's usually an odd number, and so some people end up not recoupled, and that makes them vulnerable for being eliminated from the show. They've done something really diabolical this year in terms of how they decide who's going to be eliminated, and I'm not going to tell you because I'm trying to whet your appetite so that you can see what happens. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, let's see. I think that answered. I think that respond. That was all the things I was going to respond to.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Do you have a favorite person or
player.
couple or whatever? Player? Yeah, player. Player. Do you have a favorite player?
So this is going to be controversial because she's has quite a journey, but I think Huda is a really great player. I think when she came on and she said, "My name is Huda," as in coulda, shoulda, woulda, she was thinking like light years ahead of everybody else when she came in with that. So I think she's a fantastic player at this game. She might not be the luckiest in love, or how she handles herself, but I think she's playing more of a game than, and people are also like having real emotions and feelings. But I just think she's a fascinating person to watch, and I'm rooting for her. And then on the guy's side, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I don't know why anybody would be wanting these players, but I do love Taylor because he reminds me of Jabari Walker. And for some, every time I see him, I'm like, God, he reminds me so much of Jabari Walker. But I also think Nick, who's the guy who's the nurse, is more
Is it,
emotionally intelligent than most of the people are
is
on
that
the
the
show.
curly
And
hair
it's
guy?
curly hair, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And he says some of the most like, dude, what are you doing? Things, but every once in a while he'll say something that's like, oh, this guy actually works with humans, and can see a little bit through more. And I'm anxious to see what kind of a player he is, if he's able to parlay that into long-term success on the show.
So do you win as a couple then?
Yes,
You not an
yes,
individual player wins. A
right.
duo has to win.
Right.
A
And I
team.
think and then at the end there's this, what they did last season, there was this trick where it was like they had to say whether or not they both like wanted to go out together or on their own, and they had to like reveal something, and it's like the couple who won revealed that they wanted to go out together, but it could have gone the other way where only one of them said that they wanted to go out together and the other one was like, I want to go by myself, and then they would have lost everything. Um
But that doesn't seem like that's in the spirit of the game. You want to win the money, so you might as well say you want to be with somebody.
Yes, but there was some mechanism by which you could have won it all by on your own.
Oh, I see.
But if one person didn't say it that way, then nobody got anything. I think, as I recall, I don't know. There's a lot of episodes. There's a lot of episodes. I pay maybe 75% attention, and that's like also the great thing about him. Like, I can't watch a movie where you have to follow a plot. Are you kidding me? I'm so far behind him. I'm like asking people questions like, "What's going on? Why did they say that?" And it's like it's just useless pursuit for me. So I'm so excited that you're watching Love Island. I don't want to drag this out any longer, but please let me know if you have any further questions. We can do that offline.
I will. And also, listeners, if you are also into Love Island, please tell us who your favorites are, because I'm very interested in this from an anthropological standpoint of what I can root for because none of these people seem like people I want to be friends with, but I can still root for things among people that I don't want to be friends with or hang out with or be in the same room with ever. Um, so I'm curious what you all are rooting for this season. I myself am rooting because I've only watched one episode. I'm rooting for that Southern couple. They seem like the two that maybe could actually maybe like each other.
Yeah.
Well, the one guy
Taylor
who
and
looks like
Alandria.
Jabari
Yeah.
Walker and yeah, Olandria. They look like they might actually like each other okay because they like what the other's bringing. And the other ones, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with those ones.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you for everyone who voted for the What Awards. Once more, congratulations to all of the winners. You can find our podcast at We Have a Take wherever you find podcasts. You can find the podcast on Blue Sky at We Have a Take. You can find me at TCB Biggs on Blue Sky and Roses at Roselle Harding on Blue Sky. Thank you, everyone. I don't know when we're going to do the next episode. You know, it's summertime. We're going to be doing things as needed. We got the draft coming up. So at some point, we're going to have to, fall in love with whoever plays the draft, hopefully. We've gotten really lucky that we've always had people that are easy to root for. But anyway, make sure that you just follow us on Blue Sky to find out when we're going to do something else and to get in all of your questions and Love Island takes. We would love to hear them. And go Blazers!